Today RT talks to Georgian Major Vladimir Bedukadze, who released videos of inmates at the Goldani prison in Tbilisi being tortured. Vladimir, how long has this torture been taking place? How long have you been filming this?
I've been working as the prison's deputy chief warden since 2008.
Who gave the orders? Who in the government knew what was going on? And who kept this matter under wraps?
Nobody, just the chief warden and I. I was deputy chief warden. He wanted me to film some interesting moments. For example, when police arrest an opposition activist or a prominent figure is arrested. He wanted it on tape. Probably they intended to use those videos later against those people. I made those videos over the period of a year, or maybe 6 months, I'm not sure. I didn't make them in a day or two. They were accumulated over a period of time, and eventually I had 2 hours of video. The chief warden would take those videos to Akhalaya, and Akhalaya would take them to the president. They used it for entertainment. They enjoyed watching how helpless people were in their hands. Once they take you to prison, you are nobody. You have no dignity. This is why these videos cause such an outrage in Georgia. This is why all those young people are protesting.
How do you know that Interior Minister Akhalaya saw that video? How do you know he was aware of what was going on?
I just did what I was told to do. I made those videos for him, and then he would take the tape. And I don't know what he would do with it. But Akhalaya would often come to the Goldani prison, perhaps once or twice a week. He used to spend a lot of time talking to the chief warden in his office. Akhalaya was a very close ally of President Saakashvili, whom President Bush called a beacon of democracy. He was fully aware of what was going on in prisons. This is why I insist that Saakashvili should resign. In a democratic country, it wouldn't be the Minister of Interior Affairs or Defense Minister stepping down. The President would resign. President Saakashvili must step down if he's a Democrat. But he's no Democrat. He keeps the entire nation in chaos and fear. He relies on criminals. He has people with blood on their hands working in high positions in the government.
Do you think President Saakashvili knew about these things happening in the prison?
Of course, he knew. Saakashvili was fully aware of what was going on. When Akhalaya was appointed minister in 2005, the system was very far from European standards. Then Saakashvili appointed Akhalaya minister, and Akhalaya started taking very tough steps. He would send security forces to prisons. They would break into prisons and beat up inmates. Even Akhalaya himself would often be there with a camera, filming everything. And then I think he would show those videos to Saakashvili in order to show him what kind of prison he had built. European MPs would visit the Goldani prison, and they were impressed. They would say, "How did you manage to build such a system? You have 4,000 inmates here, and this place is so quiet. We haven't heard as much as anybody speaking loudly. It's almost as if there were no inmates here at all."
Why did you release this footage now?
In May, I asked myself whether I wanted to serve the regime or to be a man. I tendered my resignation, took the videos I had made, and left the country. I was afraid because I thought they would kill me. So I came to Belgium and asked for political asylum.
Are you concerned about your family?
Yes. Saakashvili is mentally unstable. Nobody knows what he may do. After I released those videos, some people called me on the phone a few times, telling me to keep my mouth shut. Those phone calls were just a couple of days ago. I secretly left Georgia and came to Belgium in July. I have been here for 3 months now, and for financial reasons, I have been unable to bring my family here. Belgian institutions tell me my videos can't be published before my family comes here, because nobody knows what Saakashvili may do to them. As soon as my family is in Belgium, this footage will be released. When I came to Belgium, I played those tapes to the European Commission and the European Parliament, and they assured me that they would keep it secret and that Saakashvili would never find out about it. They kept their word, but somehow 4 or 5 days ago, President Saakashvili found out about this tape. And then he told Akhalaya to get 2 of my friends who worked with me at the prison and stage a beating of an inmate. So those 2 guys beat up an innocent inmate, and then that video was aired on Georgian television. They claimed that they did it on my orders. The purpose of this fabrication was to create an impression that I was connected to the opposition. They said I was paid $2 million for those videos. But I have never been involved in politics.
Why did you release this footage now, shortly before the upcoming parliamentary election?
No. They started this by publishing their video. They contacted 2 of my friends and made that video with an inmate and played it on Georgian TV. What could I do? I had this tape with 2 hours of footage. I had to defend myself. They forced me to release those videos. This had nothing to do with the election. I wanted to show the entire world what their beloved Democrat and beacon of freedom, Saakashvili, was doing to his own people. He's a criminal, and there's crime around him. This is what I wanted to demonstrate. I succeeded in that, but in quite a brutal way.
How did they pick inmates for torture? Did their political convictions have anything to do with that?
They just did it for entertainment. Or if an inmate had something to do with politics, if he was Saakashvili's enemy, they would pick him. The system is extremely politicized. If you work in the prison system or in the police, you must be loyal to the Saakashvili regime. No criticism is allowed. You should either leave or they will get to you.
What kind of response did you expect from European institutions when you show these videos to them?
Saakashvili has people who lobby for him in the European Union. He pays them, and they're very influential. It's extremely difficult to find a person here who would listen to me. This entire system turns a blind eye to Georgia. The whole world has seen this video, but when we ask people in various offices here, it is as if they haven't seen it. They just know that Saakashvili is a Democrat, and they don't want to see anything or hear anything. The only committee that's had a strong reaction is this committee for torture in Strasbourg. They had a very strong response.
Saakashvili has thoroughly reformed the Georgian police force. What do you think of that?
There was no reform. What are you talking about? It's just a facade for outsiders. Inside, the whole system is rotten. It's all done for PR. Within, it's a pyramid based on corruption.
What kind of response did you expect in Georgia when you released those videos?
The response has exceeded my expectations. The Georgian people are very emotional, and they have a very strong sense of pride and dignity. That's why they rose up and took to the streets. The protests are still raging in Tbilisi day and night, and other major cities, and they're likely to continue. I think that unless Saakashvili has totally lost his mind, he will step down peacefully.
For a long time, the West hailed Georgia and the Saakashvili regime as a model democracy. Did Saakashvili really succeed in building democracy in Georgia? Why does the West continue to back Georgia's reputation as a democratic country?
These are political conclusions. Saakashvili is a product of the US Bush family, and everyone in Georgia is aware of it. They will not tolerate for Saakashvili to fail in Georgia. The Orange Revolution failed, and so did others. He is the only one who's still there. Saakashvili has been deceiving Europe and America for 8 or 9 years, so they aren't going to say now that he's been a swindler. But that's what he is, a political swindler.
Vladimir Bedukadze, thank you very much for the interview.